Scary, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight.
What's up, bitches? My name's Miss Fortunate, and today, for the week of Halloween, I'm gonna be talking about my superstitions. If you know anything about me, or if you're friends with me, or whatever, it doesn't even matter. You would know that I am a very, very superstitious person. Like, for everything, there is like a little tiny superstition about it. There's just, it's insane. It's a struggle. It's really a struggle. So I'm gonna talk about some of the things that I'm superstitious about, why I'm superstitious about them, what I do about it. We're gonna do that. So I think the main thing that people would notice that I'm superstitious about is graveyards. There are graveyards everywhere, okay? People die everywhere, so it's like, they're everywhere, okay? And every time I go by a graveyard, I hold my breath. That's kind of a common thing that I guess happens with superstitious people. They hold their breath around graveyards. Some maybe say a little prayer or something. You like my wings, by the way? Aren't they cute? Yeah, okay. Anyway, that's kind of a struggle because some graveyards are really, really big. Some of them you drive all the way past, you turn, you drive down the other side of them. Some of them are by like stoplights or places where you would stop your car and wait. And that's kind of a thing that is a big deal when you hold your breath by graveyards. So it's a common thing for my family and my friends to notice that if they're at a stoplight and there's a graveyard next to us, that they'll notice that I'll just kind of be sitting there like, this is like, I could die. I mean, of course I don't hold my breath so it's like a threat to me, like, cause it leads to the reason why I do it. I do it like, it isn't because I think that I'm gonna be haunted or anything. It's more of a sign of respect to the dead that are buried in the graveyard. I mean, I don't know why exactly, but I do it as kind of a respectful thing that I hold my breath while passing a graveyard. I don't know. It's kind of like you don't laugh when a hearse goes by, which I'm gonna get to that. But I don't know, it's something that I do and I continue to do, and it's one of the things that you notice most. Another thing which I have a story for is you don't laugh when a hearse goes by. Like, if you're like me and you read like scary stories and whatever when you were a kid or, you know, whatnot, there was this one thing that I read that I remember vividly. It is, never laugh when a hearse goes by or you will be the next to die. I took that to heart. I was like 9, 10, in that general age range, and I took that to heart, and for some reason I felt like testing it. And so one day we were leaving church and a funeral was right after the mass that we just went to, so there was a hearse that was like parked right outside, and whenever we drove by I just looked out and went, I should laugh. And so I just kind of went, ha, you know, just to spite. It was the most rude thing and I regret it because like that's so stupid. But the thing was, that's kind of like one of the turning points that made me realize how incredibly superstitious I had become, because on my ride home I was like having a little panic attack. I was sitting there and I was like crying my eyes out and shaking, and I thought that I was legit going to die because I laughed at a car. And so, like, I told my mom, I'm like, Mom, oh my god, I laughed and I'm gonna die. And she's like, that's so silly. But, like, if you're legitimately superstitious, then it's like nothing people say will stop that because it's just in your head, you know? So, that was kind of scary. I mean, for one, it's just plain disrespectful, but I don't really worry about that very much at all. I mean, if I ever see a hearse, then I'm like a little extra careful not to laugh, just in case, but, you know, whatever. Another thing that is kind of superstitious related is like Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th is my least favorite day of the year. I hate it so much. It's like the entire day I'm just on edge. I'm just like, shit, what's gonna happen today? Am I gonna die today? On that day, like if I'm going out or whatever on a Friday the 13th, wings are falling. If I go out on Friday the 13th, I will like wear all of my lucky like rings, bracelets and stuff, shirts, socks, you name it, I'm wearing it. Just because that day it just seemed so unlucky, and I don't know, that day just kind of throws me off a lot. And it also like leads in with like black cats and full moons and stuff. I have a story for this too. Maybe age 13, 14, me and my dad were out at night going to drive somewhere. I don't remember what it was for, but we were going out to drive. It was a full moon. I can't remember if it was Friday the 13th, but I think the day was the 13th. I'm not sure if it was a Friday, but it was the 13th. And we were driving, and what do you know, a black cat crosses the road in front of our car when we were leaving the neighborhood. I legit cried on my way to wherever we were going, because I was like, a black cat crossed our car, and we're gonna die, because black cats are supposedly unlucky. Nothing against black cats or anything. They're precious, they're adorable, I love them. But another thing with like numbers, it's not like a huge, okay, yes, it is kind of a huge thing. I'm kind of superstitious towards odd numbers. Like, if I'm in the car or watching TV or something, the air control thingy needs to always be on an even number. The volume always needs to be on an even number. If it's on an odd number, I get all OCD freaked out, like, oh shit, I need to change this immediately. So that's a thing. And also my two least favorite numbers is 13 and 7. I think those two numbers are like the most lucky numbers to some people, but to me they're just like, no. I don't know why. I mean, they're prime and they're evil, and I don't know. They just freak me out, okay? Another thing I'm superstitious about is, if you pay attention, I guess, I don't know, I'm always wearing this ring. I've been wearing this non-stop since like 6th grade, and I think this thing has like been keeping me alive. I've started to believe that this thing is like my good luck charm or something, and I never leave without it. Like, I wear it to bed, I wear it everywhere. The only times I take it off is when I'm afraid that I might lose it, like when swimming or taking a shower or something. I take it off because I don't want to lose it. And I've had times where I would have like left it in the bathroom after taking a shower or something, and I'll like go and mess with it, and then it's not there, and like my heart like skips a beat, and I'm like, oh shit, where is it? And it throws me off. It throws me for a loop, like, oh, I don't know exactly why. It's just I've had it for so long, I've worn it for so long, it's my favorite, and I just feel like something would happen if I don't have it, something like that. Another thing that I'm kind of superstitious about is Ouija boards. I'm slowly kind of getting over that. Like, I'm starting to get curious. Like, I'd like to try and do one maybe sometime. Maybe. I'm not quite there yet, but I feel like sometime I will brave up and I will do a Ouija board. But I've heard things, like, because I went to a Catholic school when I was growing up, for like elementary school, middle school, so I was around like all these religious people, okay? They're crazy. I heard this thing from one of the priests, and they were like, if you do a Ouija board, then that's just allowing demons to come into your life, and I took that to heart. I was like, oh, I will never do a Ouija board because I do not want to be possessed by a demon. I don't want any demons in my life. I don't want to have to do an exorcism on anybody. I don't need this kind of stress in my life. So like, I keep that in mind all the time. It's like, I don't want to do a Ouija board because I'm afraid like something like that would happen, and like, I know that it might just be a game and whatever, but you never know, man. You never know. The last superstition that I want to talk about is mirrors. Mirrors, I'll talk more about this in another video, or maybe I already talked about it. I don't know when this is going to be uploaded, so who knows. Mirrors are one of the things that I am most afraid of. And it's one of those things, like, not really recently, I've always kind of been afraid at like the midnight hour. And I am especially sure, like, not to go to the bathroom during midnight hour or to look in any mirrors or anything, because, like, Bloody Mary and shit, you know? And also it started around, like, 3 a.m., which is the deviling hour. So, those 2 hours are kind of throwing me off, and I, like, kind of freak out, and I just don't look into any dark places. I don't move, I don't go anywhere, I don't look into mirrors. Mirrors also, like, in the dark, I don't like to look into them because I'm always afraid that I'll see something looking back And I feel like sometimes, like, also like breaking mirrors, I think that they are, I legit think that that is real, because one time I broke a mirror and like, isn't it like 7 years afterwards, like after 7 years you have bad luck? I believe firmly in that, because after I broke that mirror, just everything just slowly went downhill for me. So I think I'm finally out of that though, so that's fantastic, but I am a strong believer of that. So anywho, I have probably many more superstitions that I, do believe in, whatever, but obviously I can't talk about all of them because that would take too long. So, I guess thanks for watching. If you have any superstitions or stories that you'd like to tell, then just down in the comments, talk about them down in the comments, tell your stories, tell me what you're superstitious about, all that stuff. If you like this video, then give it a thumbs up, that'd be great. I mean, no pressure or anything. Do it. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out, bitches.